Did you know Time Magazine had an NFT collection, or which blockchain did National Geographic go with? And why has there been over 23 million in trading volume for print media magazines in Web3? GM NFT Explorers, Mike Damazo here to help you navigate through the metaverse as your no-shill resource. So, magazines entering the chat when it comes to Web3 has had its ups and downs, with a timeline of events that has been filled with a feeling to make sure you degen into that project, all the way to questioning yourself if this was a slow rug pull. For this video, we'll explore Fortune, Time Magazine, Vogue, Outside, and National Geographic as a case study for tomorrow's digital collectible. The transition of magazines into Web3 began in 2021 with the launch of cover for Fortune magazine with art created by People Pleaser. You can find this NFT collection in OpenSea with the August-September 2021 theme being crypto versus Wall Street. People Pleaser says her artwork represents the personality and potential of DeFi. It's a whole colorful, vibrant ecosystem and community, not just an investment platform. Now, the limited edition cover raised over 1.3 million in one day, and 50% of that proceeds goes into nonprofit organizations. Time Magazine followed suit, launching their own project titled Timepiece. This project was similar to Fortune's, allowing readers to purchase and trade virtual items using NFTs. The project was also successful with a series of Genesis drops that saw thousands of purchasers buying that NFT. Now, rather than have one artist, they collaborated with more than 40 artists, with the theme being building a better future. This is a classic print media's magazines foray into Web3 as a way to foster their community. Owners of timepieces will receive exclusive access to time.com, invites to Time's in-person events, and access to their special digital experiences. Now, following on this is Outside's Passport project. This project was designed to allow readers to collect what they like from across the Outside magazine website, as well as from other sites, and store it in its own digital passport, allowing them to easily access their content in the future. Now, overseas, we had Vogue magazine that then launched their own NFT project titled Vogue Singapore NFT Collection. This one allowed purchasers to get a virtual item such as the magazine covers and articles, as well as fashion items using NFTs. This project was alright at best, because with the series being auctions, they saw hundreds of people purchasing NFTs, but some of them weren't even meeting the price that they set for it to sell. Finally, National Geographic launched their own project with Snow Crash. This project allowed readers to purchase digital artworks titled GM Daybreak around the world. For the non-crypto native viewers, GM unfortunately doesn't stand for General Motors or General Manager. Rather, it is Good Morning. So, GM to you. As mentioned above, the projects undertaken by the major print media were a mixed bag of successes and flops. Let's examine the different projects in a more detailed view. Now, the digital collectibles by Fortune, Time Magazine, Vogue, Outside, and National Geographic were mostly base hits rather than a solid home run. All of these projects allow both old and new explorers to purchase virtual items that solidified verified ownership. In the case of Fortune and Time Magazine, the projects saw a large number of readers buying the NFTs in their Genesis drops that were held, with the Fortune project still holding a floor price of 1.5 ETH, or about 2,300 at this time of recording. The Vogue project was also a small win, where it unlocks the use case for digital fashions. An interesting side note with Metaverse, where by 2030, Morgan Stanley estimates that the digital fashion market alone could be worth 50 billion. Now, the Outside project was also successful in its own right, but for me, at best, it's alright. It wasn't one of the bigger well-known magazines out there of the other four mentioned. Finally, the National Geographic NFT project also had its own hiccups during launch, and it was okay. For Fortune, what work was tapping into an artist that crypto natives were familiar with. People Pleaser's work is well known throughout the cryptoverse and is a builder in the space. there is a whole well-known DAO, Pleasler DAO, which is a collective of DeFi leaders, early NFT collectors, and digital artists who have built a formidable yet benevolent reputation for acquiring culturally significant pieces with a charitable twist. So that's definitely why, Fortune had that big win when they first released. Now, the other big win was Time Magazine's entrance into the chat. Former president of Time, Keith Grossman, steered the print media toward Web3's direction, heralding in collaborations with NFT PFP projects like Cool Cats in the early JPEG summer of 2021. This 100-year-old publisher led legacy media into the digital collectibles of tomorrow. Their 20,000 timepieces NFTs generated over 10 million in profit and 600K for charities. Now, in the case of Vogue, this emerging collaboration is still too early to call. Specifically, the auctions were not run as smoothly as people had hoped for, and some of the items that were sold did not receive the expected bids. Don't let that fool you though, because if you think about video game skins like the ones from Fortnite to Animal Crossing, that in itself is a booming industry. Maybe the metaverse garments needs more time to marinate. Now, with the outside project, it was, in my own opinion, it was mediocre. It didn't feel like it was native in its approach and more rushed than anything. Activities could have been done through outside events and on a different blockchain. They went with Solana. The total supply, according to Magic Eden, is 863. But on OpenSea, you see that there is 3,046 items. The floor price is 0.9 SOL, or about $22 at this time. Now, back then, with the highest sale being 32 SOL in October, which was 4 months ago, the 32 SOL at that time was about $760. Ouch. If I can interject, I say for outside to move their collection over to an Ethereum layer 2 and revamp the whole collection with a more detailed approach. And DMs are always open if they need help. Finally, the National Geographic project was one that people would have hoped to be a success. However, there were some technical issues that were encountered during the sale, specifically the whole KYC, aka know your customers, and quite honestly, the lack of creative design and copy on their website. You can check that out yourself if you are curious to see more. In my own experience, it was an okay experience with minting it and then knowing that they didn't really sell out. It's a bit sad, but it is the nature of this industry. And I like to collect for art, so it was one of the pieces that I wanted to get and still waiting to maybe collect the rest of it. We'll see. It really just depends on who is really behind that team and what they will build on top of what they already have. So the transition of print media into Web3 has been an interesting one, and there have been a number of lessons that have been learned throughout this process. First, it's clear that there is a large demand for the NFT art market, especially from well-known artists, and now the collaboration with magazines. Secondly, it is clear that the major magazines have been trying to find the right formula in launching their projects, with hundreds of thousands of degens plus traditional readers participating in sales and auctions. This shows that there is a large potential for NFT magazines to grow their community besides email lists and magazine subscription. To be honest, does anyone actually have any magazine subscription anymore? I mean, you can't count people that own a barbershop or something like that. Like, I feel like I want to ask people out in town now. Finally, it is clear that there are still some technical issues that need to be addressed in order for the projects to be successful. Specifically, there are still some issues with the delivery of content and the purchasing of the items, and these need to be addressed in order for projects to reach their full potential. I think the UX and UI plays an important role when it comes to newcomers. They want to easily collect and purchase NFTs without thinking too much of what blockchain it is or have to worry about the safety of the transactions. Overall, the transition of magazines into Web3 is most likely in its slowdown period for 2023. With the right approach and the right technical support, print media can take advantage of this potential and create successful projects while merging the Web3 experience. Magazines have been transitioning to Web3 since 2021 with various successes and failures. Fortune, Time Magazine, Vogue, Outside, and National Geographic have all their Genesis collections out. Their NFTs had a varying wins, with Fortune and Time Magazine. Vogue, Outside, and National Geographic are still working through their entrance into this space. So, what do you think of print media as digital collectibles? Did you know that most of these collections are on Ethereum? Sound off below what you think. Tap that thumbs up because it helps us out. Don't forget to sign up for the weekly newsletter in the description. Check out the other videos on other projects, trends, and tools. Stay legendary, and I'll see you in the metaverse.